That's you. That's me. Okay. So again, this isn't a kind of necessarily a long demonstration, but I think it'd be really interesting for you, and I'm going to kind of fill in what we can find here. So having gone through these levels, you can start to see that there's some different kinds of issues and resources and ideas that you have at every level. So I'm just going to really take you through this, Daniel. So in terms for you, you say that, I know that you said, so a little bit of context, I know you said you wanted to be able to bring your presence to presentations at work.
Sure, yeah.
And it's a very particular kind of environment.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about when you know you've been at your best in relation to the environment. What's the environment like when you've been at your best? Are there some kind of contexts or some groups where you felt more that you're able to bring presence to that than others?
Yeah, I mean, the environments are best in actual environments like this.
Right.
Small groups, circles.
Yes.
I very much sympathize with your view. I'm quite good in environments where there's energy in the room.
Okay.
So
that will be kind of further up, because this is just purely like environmental.
This kind of setups.
Yes, these kinds of setup, one-to-one, okay.
Meeting type. Typical
Meeting
civil service. Meeting type setups. That's my point.
Yeah. And this is when you sense that you're able to bring your presence to these kinds of meetings. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything in relation, like we had from Sally, like relation to the furniture, the absence or presence of key items?
When I'm best at, or you went at. Okay.
Is there anything else in the room that you kind of go, this, I really can be at my best?
I'm really good at cozy small rooms.
Right.
To the extent that on a meetings I chair on a regular basis, I always put in a smaller room. People have to sit on the windowsill. That's actually people say they come out of the meetings as the best meetings of the week.
Yeah, lovely.
So
lovely, Daniel. That's lovely.
Like big rooms, fewer people.
Yes.
Not so good at that.
Yeah.
And lecture style can be quite tricky too.
Okay, so like people like this, like sitting around in a smaller room.
That's okay. It's
people
a circle,
on the windowsills.
Like, it's more like the holes.
Yeah. Lovely. So what we're doing is we're kind of doing what is it that what is it like when you're bringing more presence, when you're aware that it's sort of like when you're at your best. It's the ideal NLP type question, which is modelling the expert performance from somebody, rather than looking at, this is what I can't do, or this is where it goes wrong. But on the other hand, everything you say sort of presupposes something else, doesn't it? But this is what we're going, small rooms, small meetings, one-to-one, kind of a bit like this. That's when I'm able to bring my presence to my presentations. And so, Daniel, what are you actually doing in terms of just your gestures, your voice, your language, your props, your whatever, you might be actually doing and saying? What sorts of things are you doing and saying when you're at your best?
Well, I think when I first started, I tried to make people feel comfortable.
Okay.
Jokes work, or just asking people how they are. It's bizarre how a few meetings start with, hey, how are you? How are your kids?
Yeah.
Just breaking the ice a bit in the beginning.
Okay. So kind of ask.
Yeah. And the other thing I do quite a lot to create presence is to speak mean sometimes, but to try to set the agenda. So say, okay, everyone is comfortable, so what are we here for? I understand we're here for that, what do you think? That brings it on my terms. That doesn't always work if you want to get feedback from people.
Okay.
So you need to then understand what other people want, but having it on your term, being prepared.
Yes.
I try to...
I also notice in terms of what you're doing, there's quite a lot of, in terms of the somatic, unconscious dance, as it were, that there's a lot of and what I get from what you're doing is there's a kind of bringing from you to the group and the group to you. There's quite a lot of movement, and there's a kind of holding of a sense of the whole space.
Yes.
Your gestures are very meaningful, aren't they?
Well, I just tried this before, so it worked very well.
Yeah.
No, I
But
don't
that
have to
was
do that.
nice, wasn't it? Sort of. So do that again, because it was really nice. Where you go, yeah, I get that. I ask people how they are, and I set the agenda.
Yes. I also
So you've got this kind of very open, kind of energetic kind of movements, and that's what you're doing as well when you're being at your best.
That's right. I also have something to do with prompt. So, for example, I've got a clicking pen.
Yes.
That sounds bizarre, but I learned this from my boss actually. That if I want to get attention in the room, I click the pen.
The secret.
Little things. It's
So there's
exactly.
little kind of
It's like that. Yes,
cues.
people
Okay.
realize. And if you can't always click the pen because otherwise you ignore it. You have to do it in specific.
So in other words, you're also listening and looking.
Yeah.
You're listening and looking to see is people's attention with you or not with you.
That's right.
So you are what we in NLP would call calibrating to the quality of people's attention.
Yeah.
And then what you have strategically at the next level is you've got a series of things that you're capable to do to bring people's attention back to you.
Yeah,
You
that's
kind of go,
right.
pen clicking is your secret weapon.
That's one of them. Yeah. I mean, I like what you said about the pauses. It's very important how you listen to how other people speak.
Yes.
Because then, if you need to reinsert your presence and you know when they're finishing,
Yes.
then you can come in.
Yes.
And knowing picking the moment, so to speak.
Yes.
Other people, I think, did something slightly a bit too long, so you need to know exactly when to come in.
Yes.
So if you want to re-energize the room.
So there's a re-energizing, and there's a kind of picking your moment, isn't there? When it's just the right moment. It's not too soon, it's not too late.
Yeah.
To come in and bring that energy and re-energize the room. So you're quite attuned, as you say, to energy.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so we've got some of the things that when you're at your best.
Yeah.
Some of the things you're doing, some of the questions and the words that you're using, some of the kind of behaviours that you're running verbally and non-verbally.
Sure. Yeah.
And we've got that you're looking, you're listening, you're kind of sensing. You've got like, I mean, again, I would say this is more of a capability, but also it goes into beliefs as well. This idea of the timing of things.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Is
Yes,
important.
yes.
You're kind of calibrating, and then what I got was really, because of the energy with which you're doing this, I've really got that sense of your kind of like, there's the right moment, to come in, or there's the right moment to stay back.
Yes.
And it's quite energetic,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
quite an energy there from you.
Yeah, I find it can't always be high. I mean, you can't always be high energy. You need to. There's sometimes situations where you need to, you take yourself out of the group and let the others get on.
But your energy on the inside is quality energy, isn't it?
I would say so. Yeah, I learned this. Yeah, try to at least.
Yeah. When you're at your best,
Yes,
there's a kind of quality of energy that you've got.
Yeah, I think
That whether you're actually saying something or not saying something, whether you're holding back, you're still paying attention in this way, aren't you? And looking for your moments in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely, actually. How lovely. So then, what are the kind of skills and capabilities that you've got to be at your best and to be bringing your presence, Danya, into this kind of presentation, these small group meetings in these rooms? What are some of the things that you know how to do?
I don't know if it fits well here, but I think one of the strengths I have is I'm quite good in putting myself in the shoes of the other people.
Aha! Yes.
I mean, I say this about myself, but I think I am.
Yeah.
So it's a lot about thinking what do the other people want to get out of that situation, but also what are their wider perspectives. So there's some colleagues or even some clients I have who for them it's just important to feel their they're there, they want the space and
Yes.
authoritative, and you need to give them the space that makes them
Yes.
happy, or sometimes you need to push back because you've got a conflicting goal. So it's important to know what other people are coming from.
Yeah.
I do a lot of
There is a world within worlds of know-how in this statement. There's so many things that we could kind of unpick and kind of talk about, distinctions. Really, really nice. Again, what I'm noticing is a nice repetition of this idea of when to. When to. There's a kind of like real sense of the kind of timing and the moving on or making space, the kind of making space, people sometimes the pushing back, but also this sense of being in somebody else's shoes, which in NLP has a very particular thing, we call that being in second position, being in the shoes as though we are the other person, and having a sense of like, if I am them, why am I here? You know, because I'm in their shoes and in their perceptual point of view. Yeah, lovely. What else are you, so you're also good at kind of timing, at knowing when to push back, when to open. What else do you know in terms of bringing presence to your presentation? What else are you aware of?
I mean, another thing I try to do is I try to get in meetings quite prepared. Doesn't matter what level the meeting is, to kind of understand what are the key things I want to get up, but also want to say.
Yes.
And if it's really an important meeting, I try to write stuff down.
Yes. Okay. So we might say something like, you've already built certain kinds of mental maps and models of the content and the purpose of the meeting. So that level of preparation, again, that's a real skill that we were talking about earlier. Like, what does that mean? It means I'm literally holding inside myself in some form, you know, a kind of model of, and the purpose and the outcome, like these sort of totes that we were working with earlier. You know, I've got a lot of that I'm holding. So in other words, he goes, I prepare, I've got preparation. And of course, there's whole aspects of that are very strategic and cognitive and about utilizing your capabilities. As well as your kind of relational skills and your kind of group management skills. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing to think about, what I try to think about is what kind of state do I want to create in the meeting or energy.
Yeah, lovely.
I come more to identity, but I think it's quite important to think, you know, not just about what I'm going to get out, but also what mood do I want, what energy do I want in that particular situation.
Absolutely. What mood and energy. So you're doing a certain amount of sort of, so this is like at this level, this kind of emotional intelligence, this kind of energy management of yourself and the group. Like going, what's the right kind of mood for this meeting? How can I create that? And then you're bringing your own skills to go, well, I could tell a joke, or I could push back, or I can open up, or I can sit back, or I can come forward, or I can include, or I can focus. So there's multiple things that you're able to do and coming out through your behaviour in those contexts, where that kind of like touches the world, where those skills start to touch the world through your behaviour and make a difference in the world. Fantastic.
If it goes well.
Yeah, well, this is what we're talking about, if it goes well, when it goes well. So I think we could actually probably extrapolate from the things that Daniel has said about some of the values that he has. But let's ask you, what's important to you and meaningful for you when you are really, and motivating for you, when you're working in this way, when you are bringing your presence, the presence and the energy, the Daniel energy, into this presentation environment?
I mean, most of the time in the situations I'm in, I want to get a sense that when you move out of the meeting or out of the situation, the people exit the room feeling they've moved forward.
Okay, so there's a value on people,
progress, energy, hope.
Moving forward. There's progress, energy and hope.
Now, there are, of course, other situations
It's what we all need.
Yeah. There are other situations, however, where I really was struck by what you said about bringing the calmness to it,
Yes.
which I'm not that often in, to be frank. Auditors are more like introverted, phlegmatic people. You need to push them.
Yeah.
You hardly ever need to calm them down. So there are situations. I used to work in a very high pressure part in the organization where you do need to bring this kind of release of energy, the calmness, and of course then the value you have is more to make sure people come out feeling assured rather than
Lovely.
more agitated.
And I like that assured and reassured. I like that sense that, in a way, and this is what I kind of got from sitting next to you. I got a real feeling that you're kind of like waking people up. That you're enlivening and you're bringing a kind of life and energy into something. I don't know whether does that feel like it to you? And that's what I feel kind of in your body, that there's this kind of like alertness and awakeness and this very physicalized sense of, I need to push back on you, I need to open up to you, and I'm kind of like working with this energy in the group. And that's what really matters. What matters is that I get to wake people up.
Yes.
In a way, these are my words. This isn't exactly what you said, but you said, they tend not to be. I tend to need to calm them down. I need to kind of bring them up.
Energize them. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of need to energize them, and then what matters to me is that progress has been made,
That's right.
and that people leave feeling we've moved forward. And there's hope. I really like that. I really love that. If only everybody in every meeting had that as a criteria. Yes. There's hope. There's kind of like, things. And so the belief that comes out of that is very, very interesting, isn't it? Because it's like, you go, well, what's that belief? It's like that things are possible. That, we can make something happen.
Yes, we make a difference.
Yeah, we can make a difference. Yeah. So here we start to get some of these beliefs. We can make a difference. We can make things happen.
I like the, I think you said this before about, I think 90% of people want something positive to happen. They don't enter a meeting and get a vow or, they actually, you come to work and have a good time, no? Why would you want to go in miserable meetings?
Yeah. So these are all beliefs. Listen to these beliefs. You come to work, 90% of people want to have a good time. You come to work to feel good.
So I think if you can harness that energy,
there you go.
Then 80% of the times it works.
Yeah, lovely. So he goes, it's possible to harness an energy. I think that's a lovely, lovely belief. In this context of presence and presentations, it's possible to harness. Gosh, your English is very good. An energy. In order to kind of make this happen. This kind of hope and sense of progress and moving forward happen. And I think we see that, don't we? We really see that. I mean, I feel it. I feel like, I've come to a meeting with you and I turn up, kind of a bit despairing. There's something about, I can sense that, something about what you're doing and the kind of, like, how you're being just now. That really gives me the feeling, well, I might want to wake up a bit and raise my energy vibration, a little bit more, until I get to the point where I feel, hey, things are moving. We're actually making progress. There's hope, Yeah. Well, this is what we have to come to, isn't it? Like, to do that in a particular way, isn't it? In a way that is right for everybody. But I really love that. I mean, again, we're not capturing everything. We're only on a one-day program, I'm just trying to get like a little essence of some of what's going on for Daniel because it's so interesting, I think. So this is sort of why, why do you do this? He goes, well, I do it for these reasons. What do you believe? Well, I think people really love it, and I think I'm capable to do it. and it's what people kind of deserve and need when they come to work,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, if I were to say, so the question really is, who are you? What is the sort of identity statement? When you're being like this, and you're harnessing, you know, this kind of energy and creating this kind of forward movement and hope, and you're working emotionally and you're very kind of awake with people and noticing things and timing things so beautifully. What's your sense of who you are? And it might be like an image or a symbol, something like that.
I mean, I do see myself as an, can I say energizer? Someone who provides energy into a room and motivates and provides vision and direction.
Energizer.
Make things happen.
Yeah. Energizer is a brilliant identity label. I love it. It's not quite English, but because it isn't, it's got like a sort of fizz to it, hasn't it? And you can go, yeah, I want to be an energizer. That is lovely. That is brilliant. And with the gesture that goes with it, that's who I am.
Yes, that's very much, that is my role. My role is to make sure things are happening and people know where to move and are energized.
So that's at this level. I'm the person who...
It's quite difficult, I'll be honest with you. Because, you know, when we work in open floor, I sit next to right in the middle of my team. You can't really have a day off, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to also, because I don't like to feel you're not human, but you go in and you go... But then you ask them, how are you and how are your kids? Many of them have disabled kids. You know, they don't have easy lives. And you really want, they work hard for you and you want to make sure that you give them something back.
Look at this.
That's what it's
Look at this.
So, it's not always easy, but it's something I think you owe it to people you work with.
Give them something back. They deserve it. What did you say? You owe it to them. You owe it to them. Wow. That is amazing. What amazing, lovely things to be saying. It's good, isn't it? Are you enjoying this?
I've tried it.
Yeah.
Bring on.
Yeah. And I think we're kind of starting to touch more, Daniel, into your kind of vision, where you go, what's the sort of bigger purpose for you of this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
what's the bigger picture and the bigger purpose, your kind of vision beyond this?
Well, I think, I mean, I know I've got one who has been in government before, but I think it's an extremely privileged position to be in, you know, because all of you provide the money for what I do. You know, I need to make the best out of it, and we're here to make a difference for everyone.
And what's your kind of, if you had like a sort of picture of that making a difference for everyone, I mean, I think that captures it beautifully, verbally, and I love and did you notice the kind of softness of that as well? So a different energy was just there. It goes to make a difference for everyone. You give, everyone gives, and then so that's, for me, to kind of make a difference for everyone. It's just really lovely. Is there kind of like a picture that goes with that, or a feeling that goes with that?
Well, I
definitely have that softer, sort of more heart type feeling.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
me.
I don't know. The way I picture it quite often is that if I do my job well and help government and parliament do their job better, then we live in a more diverse and more harmonious society where everyone has, for the greater good. That's really what motivates. I guess otherwise I wouldn't be in public service.
Brilliant.
So I think that's really and that's what motivates most of my colleagues too.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
But,
we're lucky to have
very
you.
often, I think very often it's forgotten. I think because the organizations tend to make people forget that.
Yeah.
And so I see my role very much of. My wife was a refugee from Bosnia.
Yes.
So she was fleeing from bombs, like Vietnam and Syria. And I kind of feel, what, we have it very good, we can make it better. And I have this mental image got off in my mind to say, actually I'm quite privileged.
Yes. What's this mental image?
well, it sounds very cheesy when I'll say, happy people. They're sitting in rooms like this, talking and learning, going, developing in a relatively peaceful environment. That's not taking, you can't take this for granted.
Well, I'm very touched, actually, by what you've said. Really deeply, and to think you're working as a public servant in the British state is just like at this point, just reassuring. It's like there's hope. You've just given me hope in a sense that there's maybe progress to be made and a way forward. So stay there for a moment. Because actually that was lovely, wasn't it? And you kind of go, this is when someone is really bringing their presence to their presentations, and this is what's happening at all these levels. And he goes, there's the vision, it's happy faces, it's the public good, it's making a difference, it's being it's being in this diverse society where we're all so privileged, and I want to be part of that and contribute to it, and that's my vision of how a nation lives together.
Sure, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Do sit back, there's another part of this. So that was absolutely lovely, first of all. And also lovely to get these different pieces out of the different levels, wasn't it? I know there's a lot more that you could say, but in terms of just getting like a little bit from every level. So my first question for you, Danielle, is what did you learn from sort of exploring when you really are bringing presence to your presentations in this kind of way? What is it? What is it? What have you learned? What are you more aware of?
It reinforced very much what I discussed today. It was very kindly spent the entire 20 minutes about I think what you call self-leadership.
Yes.
The connection between the body and the movements.
Yes.
And the honesty and the authenticity.
Yes.
Like it's all in one, and only then I feel you really have presence.
Yes. That's lovely. Yeah. So just want to reinforce that again and strengthen that again, as this is a kind of, in a way, a new way of thinking about what you do from today, isn't it? We go, I'm really getting this.
Yeah.
That's really, I've really got that, how much, my pure physical gestures and posture and rhythm and energy contributing to that sense of presence and meaningfulness of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, particularly the modeling technique you're both doing, about showing to me how, you're repeating my gestures.
Yeah.
Being very reinforcing.
Yes.
I really like that model of thinking it through in the various stages. I mean, we talked about the positive example, there are also not so positive
We'll
examples.
come to that just in a moment. We will come to that.
I think it's going to be very useful for that.
Yes.
Also to learn. I kind of gave me some self-confidence that actually I can do it.
Yes, good.
It's always good to just sometimes do things you can do.
Yes.
It tells you my path.
Yes.
I think these are the 3 key takeaways.
Yeah, all right, lovely. So part of what you learnt was you're also kind of partly going, oh, well, this is when I'm at my best. And so I'm wondering if there are areas at these different levels where you kind of go, I'd quite like to strengthen that, or I'd like to expand that in some way.
Yeah.
So what would you say in terms of kind of your development pathway at these different levels?
For me, the most area to look at is the reaction when things aren't going well, as well as the strategies to cope with that. Okay, so here there's a little bit of expansion you think would be useful here. And do you know whether there's a kind of a belief that goes with that? Do you think, it's not possible to do this, if someone says this or does that, then I wouldn't know what to do? I mean, is there like a sort of limiting type belief that you have where you go, I really would like to add to my ways of, is there anything? I think it's. Or do you think it's just possible? I think the limiting is more the kind of. I think it's more the self-doubt that you're not. Yes. That you're not actually. I think the strength comes from my strength comes from a core belief in what I'm doing and that what I'm doing is right and what I'm saying is right.
Yeah.
As soon as this is under attack, so to speak,
Yes.
and I start to self-doubt myself,
Sure. There you
fall
go.
back into
Yes.
your
Okay.
weapons. And it's almost like being able to cope with that, to
Yes.
either saying like, look, I can't make everyone happy,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still gonna stay as I am, this might be one
Yes.
strategy.
Yes.
Or just think about, if you're really to persuade someone, which happens to me quite often, think about,
Yes.
well, what other technique, I like pausing or questioning or,
Yes.
look, it looks like I've not quite convinced you, what is it, kind of taking them,
Yeah.
and almost putting the meta comment, which
Yes.
you use. I think
Yes.
I'm not using that sufficient, I stick to
Yes.
I tend to
Yes.
stick to path A,
Yes.
rather
Yes.
than kind of
Yes.
trying to go path B and C.
So there's a kind of expansion of tools and strategies at one level, but also I noticed you talk about sort of self-doubt, self-belief, which is more kind of like this level, like beliefs about self. And these things seem to be related. I don't know whether that's useful to say that, maybe if you had more examples in your mind about, how you might deal with different things, this self-doubt would not be there in the same way. Or maybe it's that the self-doubt from time to time prevents you from being able to kind of think on your feet.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about, it's a bit of an experience, I don't know if in the acting world, if you had a bad experience and then you manage to overcome it, next time you're in the same position, you probably have one more mechanism of coping in your armor way, I guess.
Yes, you learn the lines better.
Absolutely.
Instead of thinking, I'm going to pub tonight.
Absolutely.
That's a good example, For me, it's about preparing for difficult questions.
So there's an extra thing here. But what I think is really interesting when you say self-doubt, in some ways you could say it's about preparation.
Yeah.
It's not so much doubting yourself, it's what seems to be emerging here. It's more like this kind of preparation of going, let me do some of this more downside type planning, and let me take this is one of the things we'll do later, it's like, how can you take learning forward when something has gone wrong? How do you kind of, as you say, kind of expand that for next time? Yes, learn your lines better. Preparation, as Hilary says. Okay, good. So where are you in relation to this, both in terms of reinforcing when you're doing things really well, and looking at areas that you want to develop and strengthen and enhance?
Well, I mean, the learn your lines better is a very good example.
Yes.
So for the situation I'm particularly preparing for now, the fact of putting time aside to prepare for,
Lovely.
I've fortunately already started to build that in, and I'm going to need to do this even more.
Yes.
And the other thing is,
and so that will do you intuitively sense that this will strengthen your sense of bringing presence?
I think so. I think it will also, because I really like, come back to this body thing, I really like actually, learning your lines as if you speak them on stage rather than just in your own head. Because it used to be preparation is something you kind of you just write it down and you think it's preparation. Or preparation is putting yourself in a position. I think that's something else.
Absolutely.
I want to do more.
And in terms of these debates as well, I mean that's what they do in terms of debate prep. They literally, will you be Donald Trump or you be, Obama or whatever, and people are literally doing working models of that for days and days and days. So yes, it's externalized. So there's something about that, isn't there, that you're saying? There's something about a certain kind of preparation.
That's right,
that is more sort of what you're calling out loud.
Yes. Acting it.
And acting it. There's something about sort of acting it and trying it on, rather than knowing it just cognitively, sort of getting it into your system and trying it on. If I say it this way, if I say it that way, if I'm working with this person this way and they're not agreeing with me, what sorts of answers or responses could I come up with? Let's put them all in the system first.
Yeah,
lovely. That's lovely. Anything else that you think would be, a really useful belief or an identity statement that would also kind of help when things are not going so well?
I think a belief which is helping me more and more is what I call a certain integrity or value belief. I'm saying, look, I've done this to the best of my ability. If I do this again tomorrow and I wake up, I can stand behind it. Yeah, it's been, I lived according to values. I live by, my organization lives by, and if it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well. Sometimes things don't go well.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Okay.
And I think, just focusing on that.
Yeah.
Even in the not so good times, actually helps you get through it.
Can you feel that? Can you feel that yourself?
Yeah.
As you have that thought, I've done this with integrity. I've done the best that I know how to do right now at my current stage of development and experience and expertise.
That's right.
So then sometimes just things don't go well.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's all right. That's life.
Yeah. That's what I think is the 3 takeaways. Growing
Yes.
acting, what do you call it, integrity, I like that.
Yes. Acting out loud. I think
acting
everything's
out loud,
saying,
yes. And feeling that you've done the best you can. And
feeling that you've done the best that you can and that you've worked with integrity. That's a value that kind of popped up there, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Kind of work with it. And sometimes things don't go well.
That's right, yeah.
And what then? What in terms of when you go, and sometimes things don't go well. I mean, we kind of had it with what Susie said, that, well then I can learn that.
Yeah,
I can learn that for next time.
exactly,
You said
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I think that,
Yeah.
continuous learning, absolutely.
Yeah, continuous learning. Exactly. Continuous learning is also a value here. So now, when you think about expanding potentially your presentation practice into slightly bigger rooms, or the furniture laid out in slightly different ways, or with different client groups, or whatever, how are you feeling about, taking some, doing some new things to sort of widen your range?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I've already experimented last week a bit with that. What is now fashionable, more and more fashionable, TED-type talks.
Yes.
Like free microphones, pictures, on slides, around. So I've done one last week. You need to really prep for those very well. So you have no script to hold on to.
Excellent.
That went down quite well, so I'm going to try to do more.
Yes, lovely. And do you feel more ready to?
Yes, yeah. If that works well and your room is energized, that is a great feeling.
Great. Thank you. That was lovely.
Yeah.